thank you all for coming. As we've introduced each other, I'm Andy Becker. I'm the account executive for Tierney Brothers that takes care of lacrosse here and also Holman, so thanks guys for coming. We're here today to show you the Clevertouch panel, which you're all interested in. This is Brittany Traff. She's our Clevertouch product specialist at Tierney. So we just want you to know everything you need to know about this. Please feel free to ask any questions. Also to let you know, we're here as a team with Tierney to make sure you know that we're here to support everything you buy from us. So we look forward to hopefully working with you. We appreciate all your business always. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brittany and have a good presentation, and I'll be right over here for questions too. So
yes, thanks, Andy. So I know some of you guys have already interacted, played around with, seen a short demo on Tech Tour. You guys have already played on it. We've got a teacher in the room and IT staff. What's your role in the district, just so I know in the audience? We'll start with you.
Help desk.
Help desk, okay.
Yeah, help desk with elementary.
Tech director.
Okay.
Librarian.
Okay.
IT.
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 Okay.
Classroom teacher.
Yes. And what do you teach, by the way?
Second.
Second grade. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here. What we'll do as we review the Clevertouch, I will go over just the hardware piece, and then I will jump into what it's capable of doing without a computer connected, just the Android side, and all of the apps that are associated with the panel. And then I will review the software that's included with it, as well as the MDM piece and another piece called Sadeo. It's Clever Messenger. It's essentially digital signage that comes with it as well. Please feel free to interrupt me at any point and ask questions. I won't take offense to that. And come up on the board and interact too. That's the point. We want you guys to feel it out. And I think this one's staying here, right, Andy?
yep, it's here till January 7th actually.
Okay. So you'll have plenty of time to use it. Is it going to stay in the library, or is it going to be rotating?
It'll rotate.
It'll rotate. But you'll get it. But you can play with it first. So, yeah, it's exciting.
She may not go home today.
Yeah. So I'm going to just kind of turn it. Hopefully I won't unplug anything, just so you can kind of see. Let me know if the camera can see it as well. Come on in. Hi.
Hey, Dan.
Just watch my computer. Thanks. So as I was saying, here's just the hardware piece. So the Clevertouch itself runs on an Android operating system, and that's what's this little piece right here. I actually have, that's mine from home. So it's nice with these Androids, they're actually removable. So I usually, it's kind of odd thing, but I carry around Androids in my bag. It's weird, but I do have it always for work. So again, this creates longevity for the product too, because as you know, technology is constantly shifting and changing and upgrading. Now it does allow for over-the-air updates, and that's what this antenna is for. It's also for the Wi-Fi. But with those OTA updates, they're, in 5 to 10 years, there might be a chip limit set with that Android. So instead of replacing the whole panel itself or the whole TV, you could just swap these out.
Is that a standard OPS slot, or is it something specific for Android, or do you know what the type of connection is?
I don't know all that stuff,
Okay.
but it might tell you on here if you want to look at the box. But this is specific for I know that slot is specific for that module.
Okay.
So that is specific. There's another slot right here, which is for a PC module. If you wanted to use like a Windows 10 PC module, you can do that instead of using another computer, but that would be optional as well. And that's also something that we provide, Clevertouch provides those.
Okay.
So, as far as connectivity, we have 6 USB ports. So there's some in the bezel here, as well as in the Android. And down here, there's 2 HDMI, 1 HDMI out. So if you had a couple panels in a large conference hall or whatnot, you can have the same content being displayed. Or if you have a projector in a classroom, you can also connect them that way. And as far as the 6 USB ports, obviously there's endless options. You can have a web camera, you can have a wireless mouse, especially with the HDMI, we're talking about Apple TV, so there's lots of different things that you can use those ports with. I'll grab that from you.
Any web camera?
Yep, you could use a webcam,
Like
a USB.
any kind? Well, yeah, like does it have to be a certain brand, like certain model? I mean,
It doesn't have to be a certain brand, but I have ones that I know for sure work
That
with
work.
it, yeah.
So you could Skype with just that panel and the included computer, of course.
It's a great question.
But I mean, just going through my head, like 6 USB ports, what are you gonna use them all for?
Well, flash drives as well. So a lot of people do plug in, or if you have guests, they can plug in as well. It depends on where the panel is located. As far as Skyping on the panel, currently, right now, you would have to plug in a PC in order to do that because the software, like Hangouts, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on that in a little bit. But you would have to use a computer in order to do that with your webcam. There is, and I don't even know if you know much about this, it's through one of our software programs, it's through Snowflake or Nuatech. There is a new application, there's a charge for it, so it's not included with the panel, but it's called Stage, and it's browser-based. And that will also work on the panel as well. So there might be some, you could play around with it, but I know, and again, we'll go in more detail, the Skype app, for instance, it won't work as far as the Skyping piece.
Okay.
Won't work in panel.
Is the camera then on the computer or is it in the Clevertouch? Is there a camera on that?
There's no camera embedded in, you just put a webcam on top and just plug it in that USB port. Any other questions as far as that goes? There's other connectivity down here as well. All right, I'm gonna turn it. Thank you.
Hold those cords up.
Oh yeah. Wait. So speakers are built in. They're 2x12 downward facing speakers. I'll play something so you can hear the sound a little bit. And the screen itself is extremely durable. You want students on that screen. Like that's the point of these. We don't want them just necessarily as the front of the room display. We want it as in worker space or in the library, STEM type of classroom. So we want kids on it working together. It's anti-scratch. It's anti-glare. So teachers love just the fact that you can have your windows open and still see the screen. You can walk by it and there's no shadows without that projector piece. So there's lots of things moving forward, just having this type of interactive flat panel, which will make it a lot easier. You don't have to calibrate, things like that people might be doing currently with their boards that they have in their classroom. Down here, there's an arrow on the bottom. This is essentially your remote. It does come with a remote. I don't know if this is a demo unit. I don't know if the remote's in here, but on here you have the ability to control your volume as well as the brightness of the screen. So it wasn't even all the way up to the brightness, and or switch your sources. So the blue dot is an indicator that my computer is plugged in. It's plugged into the HDMI one, so that's how I would switch instead of using that remote, which I'll do later when I go over the software. Do you guys have any questions so far? Just about the hardware.
So the remote.
Oh, thank you. The only thing that's really important about the remote is that there's a blue button, which is freeze frame. Everything else you can pretty much do on here, but that freeze frame is something teachers are always seeking out if their computer is connected. You know what else we didn't get out, Andy, are the pens. Yeah. It does come with 2 stylus pens and also comes with a microfiber cloth, just so you can wipe down with the fingerprints that are on there. Just as a common question, it might come up. In order to clean the board, the best option would be with a glass foam cleaner. Oh no. Sorry.
Somebody spent smart pens with it.
Someone put smart pens in it from work.
Interesting.
I could probably still use it. The stylus pen, I should have brought mine from home. So the stylus pen itself has a thicker side and a thinner side, and there's a reason for that. I wish I had it to show you. So, and I'll review that in a little bit too, although I can't show you all what it's capable of doing without that pen. I'm sure we can get one though.
Yeah, we'll
it
get something
sent
sent to you guys, okay? We'll get some pens sent to you for this.
All right, what I'm going to review right now is just the Android side, what it's capable of without my computer connected. My computer is physically connected right now, but I'm not utilizing it at all. So if I tap that arrow on this side, icons appear. If I go on this side, the same exact icons appear. So a teacher can instruct from either side of the panel. You're not stuck to one side. I'm just going to reveal all of them from top to bottom. The first one is Note, and this is your whiteboard. It's just your interactive whiteboard. So what's nice as you see as I review this, there's lots of different tools that you can use for your lessons, but it's not, what I always tell teachers, this is just your chalkboard. but you have all these other tools. It's not software. This is not notebook software. It's not lesson creator software, yet you're going to be able to use this for tons of your lessons without using that connection with a computer. So first and foremost, it allows for 10 touch points. So do you want to come up here and just touch it since are you using a board right now in
No.
your classroom? Does anyone want to come up here? Come on! So one person.
This is your whiteboard.
Come on, come on!
Yeah, go ahead.
Get up here.
It's good.
Come on. So just, if you're writing, two people can write at the same time. So go ahead and start writing. So we can both write at the same time. And there's literally no latency there, so there's no lag. That's probably
Can I change my color?
Yes, you can. So go ahead and tap that down here, the pencil, and now you can pick another
Lima
color.
Addis, please go to the safety circle.
There you go. So you do have a couple options here.
No?
Yep, that's an
Erase?
eraser.
So one thing that, I don't know if you're gonna say this, Brittany, but the stylus that comes with it has, like she said, two points on it on either end. You can touch one end with one color and the other side with another color and have two colors
Oh,
on the
that's
pen
awesome.
too. So you can flip it around and it has two colors.
So that's the cool part about
I'm
it.
getting there.
So you can see that there's two check boxes right there. So yeah, the thinner side, obviously the thicker side was our fingers is black, the thinner side was pink. So I could be writing here, or maybe that was reversed. Pink was the thicker side. Then the skinny side of the pencil would be black. So I always like to show teachers writing like 2 + 2 = and then flipping 4 in black. But yeah, 7. So you have multiple options there. You can also change the thickness here. It doesn't have to be the skinny side. I just prefer that just because I think it looks better. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. And then there's some other writing tools down here as well.
Can you save those pages then?
You sure can. I'll show you that. So when you were up here playing with the eraser, there are a couple ways to erase. You don't have to select the eraser icon. You can just use your hand instead of erasing, just using your palm. It's using infrared technology to pick up the touch that's on the screen. So that's why you can have the different size of pen for the color differences, as well as the hand identifying the eraser. Otherwise, there are other ways to erase. Here's the eraser icon. You can draw a line through it. You can circle a chunk, whatever you want, eliminate it off your screen. Or the broom will sweep it all away. This is one of my favorite tools. So it has different shapes. I always like to show how easy it is to bring in a Venn diagram in like 3 seconds. You don't have to stand up there and draw your diagram in circles. It's just very easy to get up on the screen. But you also have 3D shapes. So again, could be used for multiple things. Obviously geometry or anything else that you're using shapes for in your lessons. I'm just going to select my mouse and show you how you have the ability to pinch and zoom any of your content on your screen as well, or move it around. You can also spin it if you wanted to. Perfect. Or change the color.
That's it.
Who doesn't want to spin?
Yeah.
You know I do.
Next to it, this is a hand. It kind of looks like a bowling ball and some pins or a bear paw, but it's a hand. And it is your infinite whiteboard. So I can move all of my content in any direction. I can go left, right, down, continue to annotate. I'm going to move my content a little bit more. And then when I want to view it, all I have to do is tap the hand, bear paw, bowling pins, one more time and go right back to my content right there. So again, this would be a great application for math when you're doing a longer computation. We also have, I actually prefer this. You can create pages. So I'm just going to hit the plus sign. And then toggle back and forth right there. So you can preload all of your content before a lesson, especially if you teach multiple subjects, and just toggle between your pages throughout your day. Okay, as far as saving it, so there's multiple ways to save. There's a QR code reader, so if your students do have iPads, which I know some of them do, or if they have, I mean, we're strictly looking at elementary, but if they had Chromebooks or whatnot, or phones in the high school, they can use the QR code reader to get that document on their phone, which is an image, more or less. But in my hamburger menu, you can save it directly to the Android itself, to the panel here in the storage. You can push it to your cloud storage. So it works with, you guys all Google. So it would sync with your Google account, and it would just push directly to your Google account, or you can send in an email. Most classrooms are not using that option. They're using that more in like a conference room or whatnot, but you have that as an option as well. Another nice feature is that you can change the background. You don't have to have green. I just like that color, but there are multiple colors here. And there's also some images right in the background. So for instance, music teachers go absolutely bonkers over, over the music notes. But again, you have some math grids or just writing. Or if we have any PE, you have that ability too. Just more here. If I go back to the color, you can actually import any image that you have downloaded, saved on the Android side. It could be an image from a browser or whatnot that's just downloaded to the panel, and you can use that as your background too. So I always say, you know, this one always pops in my head, but like a football field, a real image of a football field, you can use that. Or perhaps a diagram of like a heart where you can label it, or whatever you want to do. You can use that as your background directly in there. You just import it.
Can I interrupt and go back to the export?
Yeah.
Is it its own type of document then at that point, or is everything basically, it's an image of some kind?
So it depends. When you're pushing it to your cloud storage, this is what I tell teachers. If I'm saving it to, it's its own file. When I'm saving it to the panel itself, it saves as an ENB. Don't quote me. I think that's what it's called. So when that, you can still edit. You can reopen it, you can edit it, do whatever you want. When you push it to your cloud storage, that saves it as an image.
Okay.
It basically takes like a screenshot. And I actually prefer saving all of my work as slides because it's organized and it'll push it out that way. If you save it using the infinite hand with that big screen, it'll kind of scrunch everything onto one screen, so it looks a little bit tighter. It's just not as nice and neat and organized. So I always recommend doing it that way. But when you do push it to your cloud storage and it says it's image, you cannot reopen it and edit it. You can still annotate over it, you know, but it's not the same as just saving it in the panel. So again, finish it, send it out when you're done. You use it, and then when you're all completed with it and you want to send it, maybe push it out through your Google Classroom, you can do it that way. Save to your drive.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? No.
Is there software for laptops that does that? So can I build it on a laptop and then put it on there?
So there's a different software, which I'll review later. It's called Lynx.
Okay.
That's a lesson creator software. It is not associated with Note.
Okay.
Now, so there's something similar, but not with this.
Just different?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions? So this arrow on the side here, this is my toolbar. We call it our get out of jail free card, because whenever you're in doubt, that's how you get back to your home screen. So there's my home. I'm safe. So it's kind of this is a very intuitive process. That's what we wanted. Clevertouch's goal is just to make it really easy for teachers or subs to walk up to that. We all know kids can go up there and figure it out. You know, it's more of the other people who aren't so familiar with technology to be comfortable on the panel. So we have similar, like just that side, that's going to follow you wherever you go, that little arrow. So whatever screen you're on, even when you're connected to your computer, they're always going to have access to that toolbar. All right, after Note, we have Files. So here's the storage that's on the device itself. You have lots of different files in here. It was an ENB. Get a check mark for myself. Where's a round of applause for me?
Gold star.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. So you have, this is where any of your content would be saved directly on here. I have my flash drive plugged in, and I do like to show this because you can open multiple different documents on here. It'll open Word, it'll open PowerPoint, Excel, PDFs, images, videos, and actually I'll play a video so we can listen to some of that sound too. But for instance, this is a PowerPoint. It was created in PowerPoint, but it is opening in an app called WPS, which some of you guys might already know. So it looks a little bit different, but what's nice is you still have this arrow on the side here, and there's different tools besides just going home. So I can actually, there's a little pen, I don't know if you can see it, but I can actually annotate over any document that I have on the screen. It still allows for multiple touch points. So whatever documents you have open, and there's 4 different colors, black, blue, and green, and there's a highlighter on there as well. So if I want to save all of my annotations I've just created, you can, again, save it directly to the panel, QR code reader, and that's your cloud option. If I hit the X, it'll eliminate all of my annotations on the screen.
So you created this in PowerPoint
Yes.
on a different computer.
I didn't create it. I stole it from the internet, but
Well,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of answered whatever the question was over here, was that you can create it, put it on a flash drive, and put it in.
Absolutely. Without even plugging in your computer. You can also save this directly to the Android too, so you don't have to, like, once you have it on a flash drive, you want to
Right.
save it, you can save
But that
it.
was, I think that was,
You
Yeah.
can put it to the cloud too,
Yep.
so like your.
Yep.
Then slide
I'll show it.
Google and then.
What a great segue into my next thing. Do
You
you have
can take like a notebook
he gets a
file,
gold star.
Yes.
smart notebook file, export it as a PDF
Yep.
or whatever, and use it.
Mhm.
I can just find it.
One more feature I wanted to show before I talk about that cloud drive option that we were just talking about. There is a snipping tool. Now, I know this may seem simple, but everyone loves this tool, and it's a lifesaver for multiple reasons. But you can use this for just images, obviously, or if you can use this tool on anything too on the browser. So let's say you have lots of text, instead of rewriting it, you can save that, or if I hit the easel here, it'll bring it directly into Note. So again, for creating some of those lessons, it's so much easier to just copy and bring it directly into your lesson instead of rewriting everything. Also nice for collaborating, having students maybe creating some posters or projects and doing the same thing, grabbing some content and bringing it into one doc. ENB. Any questions so far? I'm going to go back to files, but we're good there? All right, Cloud Drive. So this will work. You guys are all Google, so it'll work with your Google account or OneDrive. You would just add your account here. I believe it's up to 6 accounts within within your files. Now, what I want to talk about really quickly is that anything that will be in this folder, this is my cloud drive, but anything that you're seeing right now is not a Google related doc. So there's no Google Slides, Google Docs. This is all Word, PDF, Excel, anything that's not related to that. And I don't know if some of you guys heard my conversation earlier, but the reason for that is because any panel or any screen that is larger than 19 inches is not a GMS certified device. Therefore, it would be a violation of Google's policies to have an app directly linking us to, like a Google Doc app on the panel. So you can still do it. There's a way to get your Google Docs, Google Slides on it. You're just not going to be able to do it right here. But it's deceiving because it's your cloud drive. So I just like to be completely transparent so you understand why the reason that is. But even like what you were saying, let's say you have a PDF in your cloud, you can access it here, or a PowerPoint. Any questions on that? Does that make sense about the Google?
It does. I have a different question.
Sure.
You mentioned it can connect up to 6 Google accounts. How does it handle authentication? Does it sign out of each when you're done with it, or does it?
They will remain logged in. Now so you can delete it. You can go to, there's an option, you can go to the app called Cloud Drive and delete that account. Or, and I'll talk about this, there's user accounts on the panel. So that's another workaround.
Yes.
And I'll show you more about them. All right, any other questions about files? No? All right, next is browser. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a browser. This is generic browser. It also comes with a Chrome browser as well. But I actually I like this one. I'm not sure why, but I always gravitate towards this one. Now, just so you can kind of see what it looks like, everyone makes fun of me because I search cats, and I'm sure you guys just saw this. You saw this probably at Tech Tour. But just so you can kind of see what it looks like when you search. One cool feature on here, here we go. You can hold down on an image and you can save that image. You can view it, obviously. You can set it as your wallpaper or import into that into Note as well instead of using that snipping tool. But what I wanted to show you is how I've logged in here as well. So because I'm logged into this browser, I have access to my Google Drive in my Waffle. This is where it gets another tricky part because it's not GMS certified. Anything in your Google Suite won't necessarily work, although we just tested out Classroom does work on here, so that was exciting to figure out. But Google Play Store will not work on here, which is good ultimately because you would have no way to manage that. So we don't want anyone just to install, download any app. So it won't work on here. So that's good. There's another way to get other apps on the panel, but just not through here. So I go to my drive. This is what it'll load up all my slides or anything on here. Common question is, can I edit? Now, the editing portion, let me see which one I can. Sorry, just gonna open a file. So this is just a Google slide doc. In the settings, you have the ability to download as a PDF directly to the panel too, or as a PowerPoint. So as you can see, it just works. It's just using the browser in order to do it. So I cannot edit this document directly on the screen. You can still annotate using your tools because all of these will be wherever you are on the screen. You can still annotate over it. You just can't edit the document. So teachers will sometimes ask about that. Please use your computer if that's the case. If you're going to edit, just plug in your computer. Any questions on the browser? Okay, browser. Next is Cleverstore. Cleverstore is our app store. It's been a while. I haven't counted in a while. Last time I counted was 156 apps, but I'm sure that's changed. So they continuously add apps or modify them, change them in the store. And it will prompt you if there's an update. There'll just be like a 1 or a 2 next to the I. You can update it that way. So a teacher can search by category, age, or language. And the nice piece is once you select what you want, they just select it, they hit free download and install it. They are all safe. There's no ads. They're all geared towards education. Teachers are happy because they don't have to get a password for it. And IT's everyone, you don't have to manage it. They're all good to go. Any questions on that so far? If you want to know what apps are in the store, you could just Google Cleverstore and there's a list. It's a little bit easier than navigating on here. But I do like on here, it tells you gives you some screenshots and gives you a little snippet of what's available in the app. Once they install, this is going to blow your mind, but they go to apps. So after everything's installed, this is where they appear. Again, this is supposed to emulate devices that we use every day. Looks like our phones. So you can create folders as well or delete them on here. If they are preloaded apps, if they're pre-installed, they cannot be removed from that screen, but anything you add later can be removed. I don't think if there's anything else in apps.
How much space is there?
4 gigabytes of RAM and then 14 RAM.
I think it's a 16 gig
16.
hard drive on it, but after all this stuff, things are loaded, about 12 gigs left over for storage.
And there's never ever been an issue. Did you look at it? There's never been an issue with storage, but there is a slot for an SD card too.
16 gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, so.
That includes the OS, will take part of that. Right. Okay.
All right, one other thing that should look very familiar is this active button. This is just what's running active in your screen. So you can always eliminate it, but there's also a split screen option. So for instance, I can have a browser open with Note, and some of the apps will not work in that screen, like from the store if you're playing an app. Just kind of like your phone, some of the apps won't go in split screen. But I always like to show this. Maybe you're watching a movie or a YouTube clip, and then you're taking notes on this side. Or again, another way to collaborate. Just so you know, when you have it in this split screen option, it's only going to recognize touch on one side. Like I can still scroll over here, but I'm not going to be able to write at the same time. But that's all right. There's a software that does that. We have that too. Okay, active button. Lock. So this is with the user accounts. So right now I've created 2 user accounts. There's the owner account, which is more like the default account. I always say if the teacher is the primary user of the screen, just keep it under the owner account. And I've obviously used sub as my example because it's really nice if you have subs just to have one code maybe for all of your subs where they can access those screens without giving them access to the computer. Another thing for subs I forgot to mention, you can always save content on your flash drive too. Just leave that out for your lesson plans and have them plug in and access it that way. Or if you know you're going to not be there the next day, you can always open the sub account and enter any information, upload some documents in there as well. Now what's nice is that you can have a password for your account. Now it will completely separate what's on my owner account and my sub account. So my owner account, well, you guys saw it. I'll show you the sub account. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it simple, huh? Gotta remember it. So as you see, it's a completely different background. My cloud drive isn't here, so it completely separates it. Does that answer that question?
Yes.
It's important.
Yeah.
Important feature.
And another option to switch accounts, clearly the lock is probably the easiest way, but if you just slide down here, you can switch your user accounts right there too. There's a little icon. Any questions on?
Don't forget your codes.
All zeros and 1, 2, 3, 4. Really embarrassing. People judge me based off my codes, but gotta keep it simple. All right. Last but not least, we have favorites. Favorites is just your most frequently used apps. You can just add them by hitting the plus sign here, and it brings you to your apps that are installed, and you can remove them or add more to your favorites, just depending on what the teacher likes to do. Any questions thus far on the Android side? So see how much you can do just without a computer connected. We're not always relying, it's just, the easiest way to describe it is kind of like a giant tablet. Obviously there's some limitations with the Google, but all of those activities you have at your fingertips, you can do a lot. Any questions thus far? Yeah, we're good? Okay. So I'm going to switch over to my computer and review the software briefly, and then go over the MDM and that clever message piece that we talked about. My computer's probably asleep. Andy, do you have anything to add at all that you can think of that I maybe...
Well, we need to be able to show the screen share too.
Oh, yeah. Should have done that now. Sorry, I needed some water. All right. Okay, for the software, there's 3 software that's included. One of them is Links, and that's more like your lesson creator software, similar to Active Inspire or Notebook. Another one is Clever Maths, which is subject-based, still lesson creator software, but it has more interactive tools. And then the last one is Snowflake, which is an activity software that runs on apps. So we'll review Links first. Is anyone, or your teachers, is anyone using Notebook heavily currently?
I think in the high schools they are.
Really? It's usually the reversed. So the high schools are heavily using Notebook. So just so you guys know, if they are, which that's fine, anything you're using on your computer will work on this screen. The one feature you definitely lose is Smart Ink, because that's built into their hardware, but we have our ink tools as well. And you could always use it, You just have to plug in your computer, obviously, to access that. Or, like Andy said earlier, you can export as a PDF, whatnot. Now, you can export some of those files also into Links if you wanted to. You are going to probably lose a lot of those animations, some of the sounds.
Formatting will probably...
Yeah, you might have to reconfigure it a little bit, but it's another option too. So totally up to you. Oh no. You guys, I didn't update before I did. Technology. So this is my fault. I'll go back to it, but I will do Clever Maths first.
And so she can mirror right now too, meaning she has a USB plug into the panel too, so she could use that Clevertouch as a touch screen and operate her computer.
Yes.
You can open, so you can touch the computer and she wouldn't have to be on the mouse.
Yeah, I'll show Clever Share after this one. All right, so this is Clever Maths, and like I said, this is the subject base with interactive tools. And I actually think this is probably more appropriate for, I mean, there's definitely some applications they can use in elementary, but middle school and high school. So over my tab here, this is your subjects. Now this is the elementary, I think, functionality right here. This is just your English page. It's more like a whiteboard. But there's one fun thing I have found. If I just switch my templates to the writing, and it's probably going to come out of my computer because I haven't switched my my computer source on my computer. But it'll switch it to text, and then it'll read it aloud.
Hello.
So what's nice with that, you can have students working on their spelling words, maybe it's a center-based activity, and self-correcting, you know, their own errors versus having teacher do it with them. Next subject is math. So obviously it has a built-in grid. A lot of these tools on the bottom look very similar to Note. So again, that's a little bit easier and more intuitive process to learn this software. It's pretty basic. You still have your 2D and 3D shapes. Same thing with your templates, your infinite hand right here or bear paw, and some other line options. In the tools right here is where you have some of those interactive tools that you can play with. So for instance, here's a protractor. As a teacher, I can create some angles beforehand, have them displayed on the screen, and then have the students maybe guess what the angles are and play around with the protractor and actually measure it using that interactive tool.
Does that do the scroll as well? Like Notes did the scrolling,
Yep.
so you could.
It has that infinite hand.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, now I don't know how to turn it off. Let's see if I can switch subjects. There's other tools. Actually, I wanted to show you more tools in here. So for like a function graph, again, that's really nice for lots of the math teachers appreciate that. We're using the coordinate systems as well. Science, this is chemistry. You have a periodic table that you can enlarge easily. And some other tools in here as well. There's actually quite a few in this option here. So I'll just bring in a test tube. I'm going to switch to my cursor, and I can interact with it. I can fill it. I can jump it out. So there's lots of things you can do on there.
Is there a thermometer in there?
Ooh, I think so, actually. You know, that might be in. Oh, here it is. See if you can.
Mrs. Torgerson, if you're still in the building, return to your office, please.
Not sure if you can interact with it as far as changing the temp or that's just copy and paste. But you can always color in. You can always do it that way. Alrighty, next is physics. I never play with this one, but you guys are more than willing to come up here and play around if you know physics well. But they have some of their interactive tools in here as well. This one is just your whiteboard. So some of the tools I have on here could work for like morning time. They have the screen camera. Just to let you know, all of the software that's included, you can record your lessons, what's on the screen as well as sound. Right here you have a timer. And there's some other background things. It doesn't have to be green. There's other colors here. And there's some other templates available similar to what we saw in Note on the screen. Any questions on Clever Math? Okay. Snowflake. Snowflake is an activity software. It's through Nuatech. I don't know if, has anyone seen this before? Has anyone seen Snowflake? No. So what's nice about Snowflake, it allows for 20 touch points. And the reason for that is because you can create zones. So you can have different split screens, up to 4 screens. So I think there's some 3 other templates right here too. So again, very appropriate for center-based learning, where you can have students using same activities or different activities. I'm just going to pick 2 screens because it's easier for me to manage. But you also have the ability to rotate the windows. So if you wanted to make the Clevertouch a table format, you can do that too with certain stands that'll rotate it to a table. And then students can interact on all sides. Also nice for possibly some special needs classes as well. So I'll just show you a couple of examples. Now these activities, like those ones, are built in. So I'm just on the software side. There is another piece to it. I'm just picking a couple math. Don't judge me, guys. I'm not going to try. But so you can touch both sides and interact over there. So you can obviously have kids doing different activities or maybe the same activity, especially if you're working on your math facts. Have them get that competition, get them learning some of their facts that way. Now I'm just going to close this app. There are some other nice things here. You have guided access where it will basically lock them into the activity that they're doing on the screen. Or we're in elementary. I don't know where it is, maybe I have to go back. There is a secondary option as well. It'll look a little bit different and have a couple different apps. Bye. Thanks for coming. So there's there's different activities in the secondary side. Nice for collaboration. Students can just log in with Google Docs and maybe share content that way. There's tons of other great things in here. Media, they can make projects together. Basically, they make these posters with YouTube clips, docs, images, and can share accordingly and create on the screen itself. One other thing that's included with Snowflake is Lessons Online, and that is a community-based, it's kind of like Exchange, Notebook Exchange. So you can create content and share it with the community or grab another teacher's work and modify or adapt it to however you want it. And it's browser-based. So this, you can use on a Chromebook if you wanted to, or there's an app in the Clever Store where you can log in here as well. What's nice about this is they have about 15 different templates that you can change. So, here are some of the lessons down here that either I've opened or created, mostly open. But I have them right here in your bank, and you can edit your lesson. You can save to the community. You also can push this out to your students via Google Classroom, or you can import a list of your students that way. And there is another option for students to create content. I've never done that because I'm not in the classroom anymore, but they do have the option to get some passcodes, log in themselves, and then create content, which might be a fun project. Maybe they can make some lessons as well. But when you create a lesson, just so you can kind of see the templates that are available, and it's called lessons, but really they're just activities. You can enter lots of vocabulary words easily and just have that accessible. But as you can see, like Scramble, you can use a spinner if you're doing like names, quiz. It's kind of like a Kahoot a little bit, So any questions on Snowflake? No? I'm gonna show Clever Share. I'm gonna go back to the Android side. So since I have the arrow on the side here, it's on the computer side as well. I'm just gonna go right back to, we call it Lux, but it's the Android. Now, there's Clever Share is up top. So Clever Share is our software where you can cast or mirror your devices to the panel. It'll work with Chromebooks, any smart device, tablets, phones, your MacBook, or PC. So what's nice or unique about Clever Share is that if you're using a Mac or PC Windows device, you can actually have touch on the screen itself too. So that's what Andy was kind of talking about. So I'm just going to unplug here.
And the sound will come through the panel too. Just stay on the computer.
Same thing with the Chromebook.
With the Chromebook though, you don't have touch on the screen.
Correct.
But with a Windows computer and a Mac, You can touch the screen and manipulate the screen.
I'll go right on this camera. So I don't know if you can see it, but that's what it looks like on your PC. On your phone too, which I'll show as well, it's just an app. So in order, you just software for your computer, and on your phone or your other device, it is an app that you would just install. Once I clicked on it, this is the screen that it gives you. So I just type in that number up top, 032 783, and I'm connected. I don't know if you can see that, sorry, probably too close. So I'm just going to select start mirroring.
Got that.
And I'll review this, but basically I have it set up in a setting for me to actually control it. And there's my PC. So now I can control with touch up here on the device as well, and still manage to cast up here too. And with a MacBook. Now if you're using a Chromebook, like you said, there's no touch, but that's okay because most students, if you are one-to-one with Chromebooks, you have the interactivity at your fingertips. That's the point. It's just there to share your content. Also with a phone or a tablet, you do not have touch on the screen either. It's kind of using that eye mirror in the background. But there is a really cool feature that I'll show you with it. So just on your phone, similar process. I have the app on here. This is an Android phone. I'm going to type in that number, 032 783. Oh no. And now I'm just going to select start. And you can actually have up to 4 devices casting at one time. So right now it's 2. Now I can't control my phone from up here, but I still have the ability, to show anything on there. What's nice is you can have 4 screens casting. So especially if you have Chromebooks or iPads and you want students to share their content, they can do it that way. That message that was popping up is, especially for the older grades, since we know students would love to hijack the screens, that is the ability to manage who's casting to your panel. So I can see who is casting, I can allow or deny it. I also have the ability to kick someone off. So I can just give them the boot real quick if they decide to do something inappropriate, which, might happen. Any questions with Clevershare? And I know that you are pretty happy with the Apple devices for casting, but it's another solution too. You want to play around with it? I'm going to give myself the boot here too. One nice thing with an iPad or a phone is there's this desktop feature. It's really hard to see, you guys. I'm sorry. I'll come around. Just called desktop in your window. Oh, it's up there. Yeah. Duh. So I'm going to select desktop. Oh, I have to stop mirroring. And now I have the Android on my phone, the Lux screen, I guess you can call it. So I can open up Note and write a math problem and then still send someone up on the screen to interact with it. You still have that kind of two-way interaction there. See if I can delete it. Remove it. So Clevershare is pretty cool. It's a little unique. Any questions on that? Now it has to be on the same network in order for it to use. Okay, I'm going to jump into, let me show Clever Message first. That's what I'm doing next. So Clever Message is actually an app on the panel. I have it in my favorites. It's an app right here. And what we're seeing this being used is fairly new. It's really exciting. It is a digital signage piece. So when this would be used in schools, possibly morning announcements, after school activities, writing in the classroom, you can have a message just running in the background, lunch menus, endless options, right? Maybe in the front room, in the library. Now I opened this up through the app, but actually the management is through the portal on my computer. So I can plug back in here and then show you how they communicate with one another and how you create content. So when you create this account, you have to create, it's Sadeo Live, you create an account here. And then you have to go to the panel itself and open that app, and it will prompt you with a PIN code. And let's see if I'm logged in yet, probably not. On here, you add your screens. So you create an account and then you add your screens, but you have to physically touch the panels in order to do so. So I always say that could be part of that installation phase if you wanted to. Once you get everything on the network, maybe get this all configured as well. All right, so how you do that is you just go to screens here. Now, I have a few boards listed, but you would just hit a plus sign and you would enter in that PIN code that I was just talking about. That would be in the app itself that's on the panel. I don't want to do it. Just so you can kind of see it. These are presentations. I just clicked on the presentation step. These are presentations that I have previously created. They're like in my bank. You can do, a lot of schools are creating some morning announcements, same as a movie on their desktop, and then putting them in this template. These are templates that are available to you. So you don't have to really recreate anything. It's just getting some content that you've created or images or text that you want written and putting it in these templates. So, for instance, there's one that you saw previously running on the screen. Now, again, these are ones that I have modified. If I wanted to see what's available, I just hit the plus sign. And these are all of the templates. There's probably 50, I would say. And you can stream live via YouTube as well. So there's lots of options down there. All you would do is select it, then import it, and it would go back to that page. It would just import right here, and then you can modify it to however you want. You would just select it and change it and add it. I'm not going to go in great detail, but just so give you what you can do. When you want to push the content, you would go to screens. Let's say I want my morning announcements to go out. I can either group my screens so they're all grouped together up top, or let's say I just want to do an individual one. I select it, and here are all of the presentations that I've created. So you would just drag and drop. Now, there's a couple of things. Right now I'm in presentations. I just dragged over the alarm. In order for that to be displayed on the screen, I would have to open up that app. So I would push out a presentation, like what I'm doing right now, if I wanted something running in the background on the screen. So maybe it's the lunch menu and the teacher just wants to quickly put that up there to show the class, the students, what's for lunch. So it's running all day. If I want something that's going to prioritize over the screen, then I would send it as an announcement. And what's nice is that it will prompt you for a time. I'll play that one. And it will send it to it and keep it up there. It will not turn on your screen though. So if your screen's asleep or if it's powered off, it's not going to turn on. So we always like to stay away from the words emergency alert messaging. It's just a messaging app, but you can add this to another piece for getting that message out there. You know, whatever your system is currently in place, good. But it's another way to get that message out. And then obviously whatever's running in the presentation background will still be running, so you could just open the app to get that. Are there any questions on Clever Message? Is this something that you would utilize, do you think? It's free, so that's the perk.
Yeah, there's always, anything's open.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of possibilities or easy, I don't know, elementary, not doing video announcements right now, right? But you never know, that could change. All right, last but not least is the MDM. Now, the MDM is through Radix. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Radix before. That's the company. It is the third party. It is with the Plus series. It is free for 5 years, and then there will be a charge. This is the only thing that there's going to be a charge for. 5 years is an ample amount of time, and it's optional. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. But there are some great features about to manage your panels. For the V series, just an FYI, it's free for 1 year. Put on camera. So here is your dashboard.
It's normal.
Yeah, is it? Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Sure.
So this is the dashboard. If I just click on my devices here, this is showing you all the devices that I have currently enrolled in the MDM. This has a similar process like Clever Message as far as getting the MDM on your panel. You have to physically touch the panels in order to enroll it in the MDM. It'll give you a, you log in, you create your account here, and then you have to put that into there's an app on the panel, and you have to enter that information. So again, that would be nice during your installation phase to get that all done. And plus, it has to be on the network in order to do so. To find it, they don't have to be on the same network to talk. Same thing with Sadeo. You know, it's just, or Clever Message. Just has to be on the network to work for the MDM, or the app to work. So right here I have, these are all of my devices enrolled. I'm just going to select one, hopefully, let me actually be smart in which one I check. Some of these are in schools. So you can remotely jump in. So let's say if you had to troubleshoot something really quickly, or if there was an error, you can remotely, or if you just want to mess with your teachers, you can do that as well. Just remotely control the panel that way. For your actions, this is my favorite part. You can install packages or apps directly to the panel from the Google Play Store here. Now, going back to the GMS stuff, anything from the GMS, or from Google Suite, like Google Docs, it won't work. You can't push Google Play Store. It's not going to work. That's the same thing. But there's lots of apps that are open that will work. Don't judge me. I did push this one just to test it because I needed an idea. But Candy Crush did work. It was really exciting to try. But for instance, you have like Schoology you can push. Now, when you do that, you just hit the plus sign. And you can select a file from a URL or an upload a file or a package from Play Store, and then open the Play Store here and copy and paste whatever app that you want from the browser and paste it here, and it'll do all the work for you. And it will work or it won't work. You know, like I said, if it was Google Docs, that's not gonna work, but most of them actually do go through. The only issue or concern as IT is you have to make sure that there's no ads and that they're safe for your panels, but that gives you complete control over that. Test it out first, see what's on there, see how it plays with the screen. I haven't had any issues with any of the apps that like Candy Crush, you'd think, but there's no ads in Candy Crush. But that gives you control over that versus having the Play Store just on the screen itself. Any questions on that? You could also control your settings, like your Wi-Fi settings here. You can push some files directly to the panels. You can control the backgrounds. Here, as we discussed previously, these are all of the apps that are currently installed on the panel. So I have the ability to stop them, disable them, enable them, delete them. If they're not preloaded apps, then you can delete some that were already installed. You also have data usage here, so you can see what is being used, and you can do this for your whole fleet. You can see which apps are most frequently used on there as well.
Like Brittany was talking earlier with Mike here about,
Yeah.
even in the settings tab, you can kind of lock people out from changing settings on the panel from the MDM too. So.
You can send a message with Clever Messenger. I don't really see this being applicable, but you can do that as well. Check the location. Hopefully they're not wandering around anywhere, but you can do that. You can lock it, unlock it, send a siren, wipe them clean. This might be nice at the end of the school year if you want to reset all of your panels. Power, you can shut them down. You can put it on a schedule to shut down every day at 6 o'clock. And manage is more or less changing like the tags or removing them off of the MDM itself. Now, I just selected a particular panel that way. A lot of this is redundant. Over on this side, it'll be very similar features that you'll find. But if you wanted to do something for all of your panels at once, you would just select all, go to my hot dog menu here, and these are all the actions that you can do to all of your panels, like sound siren, do the shut trigger command, which is how you schedule your panels to shut down, send a message, shut down, if you just want to do it quickly, or push an app that way too. Do you guys have any questions on that? How am I doing in time? Okay. Any questions? Oh my God, you guys, come on.
Okay.
Nothing, yes.
If you ran all these through a central place, that's not a really good example. I was gonna ask if you could send the Wi-Fi settings to the device.
Yes.
But obviously it would have to be connected.
It has to be on it. So,
And on, so.
right.
Almost pointless.
So it has to be on the Wi-Fi settings in order. But if let's say you want to just change them for some odd reason, you can do it that. Yes, you can do that in settings.
Like you could install it in the room, we could put it on guest and then send out a profile to tell it, oh, join this one.
Set device Wi-Fi. Well, and it depends because I think you wanted to.
Wire them in.
Yeah.
I think we would wire them in anyway.
Yeah.
Joel's network. Oh, what color cable?
So there's options on there.
So from this device manager, can you download the saved images on the panel that have been saved while they were working on a whiteboard app on it and such things, or not?
Can you save
Like when
content through the MDM?
Or if you've already created content on the panel, can you see it and get it from here, or can you only get it by putting it on the cloud or putting it on a thumb?
You can only get it from putting it in the cloud, or you can clone it.
Okay.
There's a cloning option in settings to clone everything that's on the panel onto a USB flash drive. If you want to like save it all directly that way.
But you have to be at the panel.
You have to be at the panel to do that.
Yeah.
The only content that you can view is if you remotely go in there, you can see everything, but you can't grasp that the content or the apps.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can we hear a demo sound?
Oh yeah. Rebecca had video on here. Oh, and there's a couple cool apps on here too that I didn't really review that much. One of them is a DU Recorder app, so it will record all of your lessons, just what's on your screen. If you do have a USB camera or whatnot, it'll also do sound. So that's fairly new. Oh, I don't know why I said no. Lots of teachers have liked that feature. Then whatever they're doing in Note, they can just record it and push it out to students that way. Okay, let's just do this guy.
Only a win for Barca would be enough because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head goal difference is what counts in the case of a tie on points. The mosaic of the Camp Nou.
I'm on my flash drive, but now I can mark up on my screen, all the guys have to go this way. So you have the ability to annotate over.
Good thing our soccer coach isn't here right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You can also do that screen clip and take a clip from a video and put it in your whiteboard too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Barcelona hymn beat.
It's very loud.
Go to YouTube and select the 4K file.
What network is she on?
We're gonna take.
I'm on I'm on hotspot.
Oh.
Why don't you come up and do it? You want to come up here and pick one?
What?
Go drive.
Pick a, yes, someone else come up here.
Just go to YouTube
Yeah.
and just. We're gonna kill that hotspot. With the limited data.
I was gonna say I could go in the lab and
Just type in 4K and you'll find anything.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I know it's a 4K screen, right?
Mm-hmm. Good video.
Yeah, but we're not gonna buy this to put a fireplace in every class.
When I switch out the Androids, I'll put it on the guest network and just make sure the Android's updated.
Yeah. Do the
All
first
that.
one. That was mine, yeah, the carrot.
Andrew's about to get a message from corporate asking what's happening.
Oh, you get that little bar. Do it.
What are we looking for?
Make sure sure it's playing back and forth thing versus 1080p or something.
What's this thing on the top of the line?
It does say it says
Well, it's
HDMI.
just on the video.
Is it?
Yeah.
You can choose it. Do you have a YouTube app on there?
YouTube is in GMS. It's part of that Google Suite.
So then you can do it from your computer, you can choose it.
Absolutely.
I was just curious.
It's really
You have to
rough.
use a phone.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
You're gonna get, you won't be able to call or anything tonight, you'll be done for it.
Any other videos you want to see on here? Should try it in quick share.
We'll have them plugged into the network, so.
Can we see like a power cycle? Just to see how long from all the way off to on?
So it's actually something I didn't talk about. You can put it to sleep. In order to put it standby mode, you have to tap the button. There's a power button on the side. Just tap it and put it to sleep. Wake it up, you just tap the screen. To shut it down, you hold it down for 5 seconds. Okay, you can watch it. It goes red, blue, red, blue, red, blue.
There's also a hard power toggle switch underneath.
Then there's a hard power in here.
Powered off.
In order to turn back on, just tap the power button.
Is there an audio out of that unit to go into like another
I think
sound
there is,
system or
yes.
stereo?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. It's underneath.
It's right down
And
here.
on your knees, we.
Oh, I'm just asking.
There's a coax out AV.
If you say it's
coax
there,
out.
I'll believe
That's
you.
right. Oh, audio out.
Yeah, there is an
Okay.
audio out at the
RS-232.
mini plug.
Okay.
And VGA.
And there's also a RCA, so you can actually plug in a, like an old style DVD player
Oh, okay. Sure.
with the three
Got the
RCA
positive.
plugs.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome.